Welcome to your Health Facts. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of gluten-free foods.
We're going to uncover a surprising truth. They might not be as healthy as you think.
So to start us off, could you tell us a little about gluten and its effects on the body?
Well, gluten is a protein that humans actually can't digest.
Interesting.
And its overuse in modern diets, it's everywhere these days, has really led to an increase in gut inflammation.
Okay, so that makes sense why people are turning to gluten-free products.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of these products contain ingredients that are just as bad for your gut as gluten.
Like what?
Oh, like sugar, cornstarch, and all those other refined starches.
Those don't sound too good.
No, not at all.
So how do those ingredients affect us?
Well, they basically feed the harmful bacteria in your gut.
And that causes...
Inflammation.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not good. It can lead to all sorts of problems like skin issues, dermatitis, and even fatty liver disease.
Wow, that's pretty serious.
It is. And what's worse is that the process of actually removing the gluten from the grain often involves using harsh chemicals and acids and enzymes. So you end up with this highly refined product that's been stripped of all its nutrients.
So it's basically worse than just having the gluten in there in the first place.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yikes. So let's talk about some of the specific ingredients used in these gluten-free products.
Yeah, sure.
I know one common one is rice flour.
Right. And that actually has a tendency to absorb arsenic from the soil.
Really?
Yeah, so that's another layer of concern there.
So not only are we getting these refined starches, but we're also potentially ingesting arsenic.
That's right.
Not a great combination. And then to top it all off, gluten-free products are often low in protein, right?
That's true.
Which can lead to what?
Constant cravings and overeating. Your body's just not getting what it needs, so it keeps telling you to eat more.
And that just perpetuates the cycle.
Exactly. You end up eating even more of these refined carbohydrates, and it just makes the gut health problems even worse.
Makes sense. So we've talked about how these refined carbs feed the bad bacteria in our gut.
Right.
What happens when we replace the gluten with these ingredients?
Well, it can actually lead to something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO for short.
Okay, and what is SIBO?
So it's basically when you have this overgrowth of harmful bacteria in your small intestine.
And what does that do to us?
Well, it robs your body of essential nutrients, and it just causes further inflammation.
So more inflammation on top of the inflammation we're already getting from the refined carbs.
Exactly.
And how does SIBO actually manifest? Like, what are the symptoms?
It can really vary from person to person, but some common ones are bloating, gas, abdominal pain, maybe diarrhea or constipation.
Oh, so like the classic digestive issues.
Yeah, exactly. But it can go beyond that, too.
Really?
Yeah, like some people experience mood swings, anxiety, depression.
Wow, I didn't realize it could affect mental health, too.
It can. It really highlights the connection between our gut and our brain.
That's fascinating. So it seems like SIBO is a pretty serious condition.
It can be, yeah.
So how do you treat it?
Well, antibiotics are sometimes prescribed, but, they come with their own set of problems.
Like what?
Well, they kill off both the bad and the good bacteria in your gut.
Oh, so it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, and in the long run, it can actually make the problem worse and even contribute to antibiotic resistance.
Makes sense. So what about other approaches?
Well, some people turn to the carnivore diet, thinking that cutting out all plant-based foods will help.
Interesting.
But while it might provide some temporary relief from the symptoms, it's not a sustainable long-term solution.
Why not?
Because you're missing out on all those essential nutrients that you get from fruits and vegetables and whole grains.
Right. Those are important for overall health.
Exactly. And plus, long-term adherence to that kind of diet could further disrupt your gut microbiome,
In what way?
Well, you're not getting any fiber, which is what the beneficial bacteria need to thrive.
So it's like you're starving the good guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if antibiotics aren't ideal and the carnivore diet isn't sustainable, what's the best way to restore and maintain a healthy gut?
Well, the key is to replenish it with beneficial bacteria.
Okay, and how do we do that?
By eating fermented foods.
Oh, like what?
Like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, kefir.
Those are all delicious.
They are, and they're packed with probiotics, which are live microorganisms that have all sorts of health benefits.
Probiotics, right?
Yeah, they help to crowd out the harmful bacteria, support digestion, and strengthen your immune system.
So basically, they're like the good guys in your gut.
Exactly.
And eating a variety of fermented foods can help to create a more diverse and resilient gut microbiome.
That's the goal.
So it sounds like gut health is about more than just avoiding gluten.
Oh, absolutely. It's about making conscious choices that nourish your body from the inside out.
That's a great point.
So the next time you're at the grocery store and you see something that says gluten-free,
Yeah.
don't just assume it's healthy.
Right.
Take a look at the ingredients list and make sure it's actually something that's going to benefit your body.
So read the label carefully.
Exactly.
It's all about being informed.
That's right.
Great advice.
Well, we'll delve deeper into these aspects of gut health in the next part of our deep dive.
If you are interested in learning more about gut health and making informed food choices, be sure to subscribe to yourhealthfacts.com.
Let's dig a little deeper into those refined starches and sugars we talked about.
Yeah, those don't sound good for the gut.
Right. So remember, they feed the harmful bacteria in your gut.
Right.
And when those bacteria die, they release these like byproducts.
Oh.
Yeah. And those byproducts cause inflammation throughout your body.
So it's not just limited to the gut.
No, not at all. And one organ that's particularly impacted is your liver.
The liver.
You can actually get a buildup of fat in the liver, which is called fatty liver disease.
Oh, well, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a pretty serious condition, and it's linked to this inflammatory process.
And how about the skin? We talked about skin problems earlier.
Right, so the inflammation can also manifest as skin problems like dermatitis.
So it's all connected.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, remember how we talked about the process of removing gluten from grains?
Yeah, that seemed kind of complicated.
Yeah, it is, and to be honest, it's not always pretty.
What do you mean?
Well, manufacturers often use harsh chemicals and acids and enzymes to extract the gluten protein.
So it's like a super processed food.
Pretty much, yeah. And you end up with this highly refined product that's been stripped of its natural nutrients.
That doesn't sound good.
It's not, and ironically, it might even be more detrimental to your health than the gluten itself.
Wow, that's kind of ironic.
It is. And then there's the issue of the replacements they use in gluten-free products.
Like rice flour and tapioca flour.
Exactly. So rice flour, for example, tends to absorb arsenic from the soil.
Arsenic.
It's a heavy metal that can accumulate in your body over time. Yeah, and then tapioca flour is basically just a highly processed starch that offers very little nutritional value.
So not great replacements.
Nope, not really. Now, let's talk a bit more about SIBO.
Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Right, so basically it happens when bacteria that are normally found in your large intestine start growing in your small intestine.
Okay, so they're in the wrong place.
Exactly, and that disrupts the balance of your gut microbiome.
Makes sense.
And it can interfere with nutrient absorption.
So you're not getting the nutrients you need.
Right, and the symptoms of SIBO can vary, but some common ones are things like bloating, gas, abdominal pain.
Oh, those sound familiar.
Yeah, and also maybe diarrhea or constipation.
So basically a lot of digestive discomfort.
Yeah, pretty much. But it can also affect your mental health.
Really?
Yeah, some people with SIBO experience mood swings, anxiety, and even depression.
Wow, I had no idea.
It's really fascinating how connected our gut and brain are.
It is. So how do you actually treat SIBO?
Well, antibiotics are often prescribed, but as we discussed earlier, they can have some negative side effects.
So right, they kill off both the good and bad bacteria.
Exactly, and that can disrupt your gut microbiome and potentially lead to antibiotic resistance.
Not a perfect solution.
Nope. And then there's the issue of yeast overgrowth.
Yeast.
Yeah, particularly a type called Candida.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's pretty common. And this overgrowth can lead to all sorts of issues like fatigue, brain fog, and more digestive problems.
So it's like a whole cascade of problems.
Pretty much, yeah. And then some people turn to the carnivore diet as a way to address gut health issues.
Interesting. So what's the thinking there?
Well, the idea is that by eliminating all plant-based foods, you might be able to starve out the harmful bacteria.
I guess that could make sense.
Yeah, but it's not a sustainable long-term approach.
Why not?
Well, first of all, you're missing out on a lot of essential nutrients that are found in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains.
Right. Those are important.
And secondly, sticking to the carnivore diet for a long time could actually further disrupt your gut microbiome.
How so?
Because you're not getting any fiber, and fiber is what the beneficial bacteria in your gut need to thrive.
So it's like you're starving the good guys again.
Exactly. So to really restore and maintain a healthy gut, you need to replenish it with beneficial bacteria.
And how do we do that?
By eating fermented foods.
Like we talked about before.
Yeah, things like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, kefir.
Those are all pretty tasty.
They are, and they're full of probiotics.
Right, those are the live microorganisms.
Exactly, and they do wonders for your gut health.
So they help crowd out the harmful bacteria?
They support digestion and they strengthen your immune system.
It's like they're little superheroes for your gut.
That's a good way to put it. And eating a variety of these fermented foods can help create a more diverse and resilient gut microbiome.
Diversity is key.
It is. And remember, gut health is about more than just avoiding gluten.
Right. It's about making choices that actually nourish your body.
Exactly. So when you're at the grocery store, don't just grab something because it says gluten-free. Take a minute to read the ingredients list and make sure it's something that's truly wholesome and nourishing.
So be an informed consumer.
Absolutely. Your gut will thank you for it.
So it really sounds like we need to shift our focus from simply avoiding gluten to actually, taking a more holistic approach to gut health.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
I mean, avoiding gluten is important for some people.
Of course, yeah, especially those with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity.
Right. But for the average person, it's more about, well, what you said, like nourishing your body from the inside out.
Precisely. Focus on eating a balanced diet that's rich in whole, unprocessed foods.
Like lots of fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely, yeah. And lean proteins, healthy fats, and of course, those fermented foods we talked about.
The good guys.
Exactly. These are the foods that are going to provide your body with the essential nutrients it needs.
And that will support a healthy gut microbiome.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Now, I know some people listening might be thinking, well, I think I might have some gut issues.
Yeah.
Maybe even SIBO.
Right.
What would you recommend for them?
Well, first and foremost, it's always best to consult with a healthcare professional.
Makes sense.
They can help you figure out what's really going on.
Right. Determine the root cause of your symptoms.
Exactly. And then they can develop a treatment plan that's tailored specifically to you.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach?
Definitely not. Everyone is different.
Okay, that makes sense. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway here is that knowledge is power.
Like that.
When it comes to your health, take the time to do your research.
Right.
Educate yourself and make informed choices.
Yeah.
Choices that are based on scientific evidence and expert advice.
Don't just follow the latest fad diet.
Exactly. Stay away from those quick fixes that promise the world but have no real substance.
Right.
It's about taking a long-term approach, focused on nourishing your body from the inside out.
And building a healthy relationship with food.
Absolutely. And that involves understanding how different foods impact your gut health.
Right. And making choices that support your overall well-being.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Great advice. And for evidence-based information on gut health and nutrition, be sure to subscribe to yourhealthfacts.com.